Good morning, beloveds. It is Monday morning. It is very foggy out there. The weather is, I don't know. It is going to be in the 80s every day, like mid 80s every day until Friday. And then the weather's going to bottom out. It's going to be in the 60s for the next week. I don't know what's going on. We went for the ride this morning, the bike ride this morning, and we turned up a road that we normally go up, and there was a dog running in the driveway, loose in the driveway. And I was like, turned around, chose a different route today because it was a big enough dog to make me think twice about it. And then we came around another corner and they were you could see through the fence. It wasn't a chain link, but it was the thin metal bars. And this dog absolutely sounded like it wanted to come and eat me. And I was just like, I'm not over it. I'm not over it. But I got through the bike without, losing my mind. So, it is what it is, right? And we just do the best we can until we know better. So, okay. It is March 6th. Our title is Working Perfectly. The first quote is, "And we know that all things work together for the good of them that love God." Romans 8:28. The second quote is, "Suffering carries a blessing with it when we learn how to garner knowledge from experience." Science of Mind, page 485. Perhaps one of the most difficult things those of us on a spiritual path are called to do is look beyond a painful circumstance happening at the moment and know that the universe works perfectly all of the time. In the face of what seems to us great loss or tragedy, unfair treatment, or an inequitable situation, we are inclined to feel that everything has somehow gone wrong, and we may have trouble accepting that a loving God could allow such things to happen. The truth is that God wishes no one ill. God knows only love. We create the conditions of our lives, and when life appears bleak and we suffer, we need to take a look at what we can learn from any situation that causes us to suffer. Ernest Holmes said, "Suffering may be salutary in that it leads us to a place where we can learn that it is unnecessary." Can we count everything that occurs in our lives as a blessing? Can we attempt to learn from the bad as well as the good, realizing that these labels, after all, are only our human judgments? Let us strengthen our faith daily by loving our Creator and by knowing that the perfection in our lives. I know that God is love and that love is my true nature as God's child. Every day, my faith is strengthened as I open myself more and more to divine perfection. I am blessed. And that is J.A. Gene Anderson. Okay, I have thoughts. I have many thoughts. Let's start with the fact that suffering is not necessary. Okay? Ernest says that. Suffering is not necessary. It is not necessary. And God does not create suffering. Okay? We do. We have talked about evil. Evil is not a power in and of itself. It is a misuse of power. Okay? That is what creates suffering, which means we create our own suffering. Now, I am not saying that we create suffering. What I'm saying is that humanity creates suffering because we misuse the power that has been granted to us. It's one of the reasons why I object to a translation of the Bible where they translate that God gave us dominion, and I prefer where God gave us stewardship, because dominion means different than stewardship. We were granted stewardship over the earth, meaning it is our responsibility to take care of it, not to dominate it. Okay, so there is suffering is unnecessary. And so what Ernest says is that the only value in suffering is that we learn that it is unnecessary. Okay. Suffering in and of itself has no value. There is no moral uprightness. There is no, there's no moral superiority in suffering. There's not. It's one of the reasons why we actively work to help alleviate suffering, which is why we have a social justice arm. And Jesse's even said, it's like the law works perfectly. Even when we misuse it, the law works perfectly. If you don't believe that the law works, then the law doesn't work, which is how it works. So it's like, so there's no value. There is no value in suffering. And so when we meet people who are suffering, we don't say, oh, well, you're going to get so much moral value out of this. You're going to get so much grace and credit out of this from God. No, that's not the way God works. All right. There's a meme that I see occasionally, and I haven't seen it lately. And it's generally a man sitting on a bench with Jesus, and the man is asking Jesus, well, why do you let, and it lists all of the awful things that happen, and why do you let this happen? To which Jesus turns to the man and says, why do you let all of these happen? The ball is in our court. The ball is in our court. It is in humanity's court. At no time am I ever going to look any person in the face and tell them you've created your own suffering. No. But I am going to say that humanity has created its own suffering because we believe that we have to, and we don't. And so that's what Ernest Holmes is trying to get to you. The only value in suffering is that we learn it is unnecessary. No one needs to suffer. No one needs to suffer. And we do work very hard and do all kinds of interesting things to help alleviate that, including getting on, social media, looking people in the eye as, much as we can, as we, virtually, and looking them in the eye and saying, you are a beloved child of God. The God of our understanding is a God of love. The God of our understanding does not perpetuate these things. The God of our understanding has not deemed you unworthy and that you must suffer until you are worthy. That's not the God of our understanding. We believe in a God of love. That each and every one of us is a beloved child of God. The suffering that is happening is people not knowing who they are. The greatest treatment that we can do for each other is to treat that everyone knows who they are. Everyone knows that they are a beloved child of God and that they live in an abundant universe, that they live in a situation where they can get their needs met and that they don't have to take anything away from anybody else to get those needs met. And here we are. Don't ever let anybody tell you that you have to suffer. I'm not saying that you don't. I'm not saying that we don't suffer. All I'm saying is that we don't have to. And one of our mottos, I don't know which motto, they call them different things, and I don't know if it's a motto, but it's definitely a value of Science of Mind, is a world that works for everybody. And in a world that works for everybody, everybody's needs are met. No one has to suffer. That is the world that we actively treat for, that we actively work for every day. Every day. All right, Gene Anderson, I don't know if I did you justice, but that's my soapbox for the day. That is my soapbox for today. So we look the facts in the face and see the truth behind them. We see the suffering. We do what we can to alleviate the suffering, and we understand that the suffering is not necessary. Oh, so the mission today, should we choose to accept it, I'm going to use her affirmation at the bottom. The mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to know that God is love and that love is our true nature. And see where that gets us. It's the mission. The nature of God is love. And that is our true nature. If we are made by God, of God, for God, we are made of love, for love, by love. And all the rest of it is material trapping. So that's your mission today. All right. Oh, Lord. Okay. And after having been on that soapbox, I'm going to remind you the second thing that I give you every day is a reminder to practice the spiritual practice of doing something loving for yourself, doing something kind for yourself, doing something compassionate for yourself, whatever that looks like. It is as simple as taking a deep breath and can be as much as simply taking the day off. All right. And maybe you have to go to work, but you can still rest your mind. You can rest your soul. You can go and take care of your duties and rest your mind. All right. Take that deep breath, take the nap, take the walk, take the break. There are too many of us that don't take the breaks that we should. So, rest your body, rest your mind, rest your soul, rest your heart. I remind you about this spiritual practice every day because I want you to create a habit, a default setting, a first response. I want you to create a well-worn path to the center of your own being, to the source of your own being, which is an infinite source of love, kindness, and compassion. When you meet people who need a little extra, you will have enough to share because you practice on yourself. You are your own best test subject. You get immediate feedback when you practice on yourself. But when you connect to the source of your own being regularly in this practice of love, kindness, and compassion, you create a strong connection to that infinite source. And then no matter what happens, you can respond lovingly, kindly, and compassionately. All right. I'm going to move through that. I'm also going to remind you, although today I'm just, tense with the energy today. I don't know what's going on. It's while I do talk about this spiritual practice of love, kindness, and compassion as self-care, it is absolutely self-care. You deserve self-care. You cannot pour from an empty cup. And if we're going to make a world that works for everybody, take care of yourself. It is also about making room for joy. I say eat dessert first because your life is a special occasion. All right? Don't save the good stuff. Make room for joy. Take care of yourself and make room for joy. That is my platform. All right. I also encourage you to do something to engage your mind and your body, whatever that looks like. I encourage you to drink plenty of water. Hydration is super important. I know it's allergy season for all of us. I can feel it up there. Hydration will help with that. So, hydrate, drink plenty of water. Your brain works better when it's hydrated too. So, all right. I also encourage you to get early in your day bright light. It is completely hazy and foggy out there. There was no sun in evidence outside of, daylight. So artificial light counts too. So make sure that you, avail yourself of early in your day bright light. It's called a circadian rhythm. I mention it. It is science. You can look it up, but it's a hormone rhythm. Early in your day bright light helps to reset those hormones. It will improve your energy during the day and help you sleep better at night. It's science. You can look it up. Check it out. And then my Ernest Holmes quote, open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you, you do live in heaven right here, right now. It's all around us all the time. And it looks like a variety of different things. When I was sitting in the park yesterday watching the Shakespeare play, and I looked up and it's the fresh green of the new leaves and the sunlight filtering through them. It was just beautiful. And that's what heaven looks like to me. In that moment. Heaven is a state of mind. It's a state of consciousness. Once we learn that, heaven ceases to be a place and can become any place because it's here and here. And it straight up is a superpower. It's also a state of grace. Once you learn to do it for yourself, nobody can take it away from you. It's pretty amazing. That's why we practice. That is absolutely why we practice. All right, beloveds. Yes, I'm very strident today. Practice on yourself. And in this learning about heaven as a state of mind, heaven as a state of consciousness, take Emma's advice. Always, always, always. She's got good advice. I always imagine Emma as this tiny little lady who either she'll walk up to you and put her finger in her chest, or she'll grab you by the lapels. How many of us wear lapels? But I can imagine that. And she looks you in the eye as she holds you close, and she says, "Look for the good and praise it." This world is full of good. Full of good. You are good. You are part of that good. So even when you walk into situations that are completely chaotic and you're like, where am I supposed to find the good in this situation? Well, you know what? It walked in with you. So, all right. Look for the good and praise it. Look for the good and praise it. Okay, so I'm at the social media part where I remind you that we are Creative Life Spirituals on our Creative Life Spark. I'm the running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I am on. Please feel free to check out all those social medias. We try and curate really amazing stuff. I was having trouble with the audio track and the video track not lining up, so the Sunday service isn't up, but I'll get that up tonight. And hopefully I will make it public, unlike last week when it was unlisted. So, good stuff, good stuff. And we do have an amazing soul session coming up. So if you want to know what's going on with the center, email info@creativelife.org. That'll get you on the constant contact, and those hot links are hot. So, all right. Yep. And there's a cool thing on the website now where if you go to creativelife.org, that's our website, not just our Facebook, but our website, creativelife.org, then you can click to the Sunday talks that way too. So as soon as they're made public, you have multiple ways to access them. All right. And yes, I'm at the part where I get to encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonder-filled day, an awesome day, an amazing day, a Monday, a get your week started day, a I got this day, a everything's working perfectly day, a know who you are day, a check into the God of your understanding. What do you actually believe day? A good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day, because you are enough just as you are. You are a beloved child of God. You are a divine spark. You are a brilliant light. You are spirit in motion. You are God in action. You are a godling. Kind of like sapling, in whom God is well pleased and well represented. That is the truth of your being. That is the truth of our being. When we know who we are, we do better. All right? Take that understanding into your soul. Okay, Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. I will be back with you around 9 a.m. Take care of yourself. Have a good week. Know that you're loved, and I will see you next time.